Hi, everyone. So, you know, when you're basically two steps away from being a shut-in, you realize when you finally have to interact with people that are not store employees that your social skills are a little rusty. Um, I would use the word skills pretty loosely. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but what I'm talking about is I had to have a social interaction and I'm going to report about it because this does not happen in my life really anymore. I have made so many episodes about store employees because that's where my interactions come from these days. So now I have one that is not store related. Um, so yesterday was Easter. No offense to the people who celebrate Easter. We don't. And to me, it's just kind of like, ooh, it's a day to eat some fancy food or something. I know that's disrespectful, but like I'm not religious. So, um, and this is kind of like not related to what I was gonna talk about, but like I'm hearing that people like kids have to paint potatoes. Like they had to paint potatoes instead of eggs this year because of how expensive eggs have been and like rocks too. Can you imagine like you're gonna go hide a whole bunch of rocks or some shit for I don't know. Like I don't know if kids still play the hide the egg game or whatever, but can you imagine like hide the potato game? And like now that I'm on that, who decided that painting eggs was a good idea for Easter? Like, where did that come from? And is it interesting enough for me to look it up myself? Probably not. So if somebody could just do that for me, and then I don't know, like break it down into like just a few sentences for me so I can like understand and move on with my day, I'd appreciate that. Like seriously, like who sat there and was like, you know what? It's Easter. Let's just take this like egg that isn't even cooked. Oh no, you do cook them, don't you? Oh yeah, never mind. Okay, so you take a cooked egg and you paint it and you draw on the shell. I don't understand why. What is the point of that? I remember we used to do that as kids. Did we eat the eggs after? I don't think so. Did the eggs stay out like for days or something? Like, do I have bad memories of this and that's why like a lot of it's blocked out? Cause like my mom was all about this fucking egg painting. I don't know. I just is a tangent and I just didn't even get started on the episode. Anyways, if somebody could get back to me on that, I'd be really grateful. So, anyways, Janice and Nadine, for those of you who don't know them, there are neighbors slash family. Um, we bought the house that we're currently living in from Janice. Um, and we go over there sometimes when we're asked to. So like Janice is in her 70s. Nadine's, I think she just got to 60, early 60s or something. I'm not very good with like that, but I know Janice is like a little bit older. And Janice is my adopted mother, and Nadine is Alicia's adopted mother because our families are fucking crazy. Like, so we just took these people and told them, you're our mothers now, and you have a lot of making up to do for what we never got to have as kids. And they've been doing a pretty good job ever since, and it's just been like a decade, so not too shabby. But, anyways, um, they're people and they like to hang out with other people. And so they asked us if we wanted to come next door for Easter, which was yesterday. And they don't really celebrate it either. They just use it as an excuse to eat food that they don't usually eat. And so we were supposed to have a child over this past weekend, and that didn't work out because we forgot it was Easter and the kid, Bella, she probably had some stuff that she was doing or whatever. Like I almost would rather have had her over for the weekend than to like go next door to celebrate Easter. That sounds horrible. By the way, these are like really nice people. It might not sound that way from me describing what happened, but they're really nice people. So, you should know that up front. But anyways, what was I saying? I don't remember. Anyways, so Janice and Nadine grew up basically on this street, which I think is so cool. It's hard for me to imagine, like, what that must be like because I grew up in the military and, like, I did spend, like, a decade and a half in Japan. It just wasn't all, like, consecutive. So we moved around, in different houses and stuff too. Uh, but I wonder what it feels like to just you're born and raised on the same street in the same house, and then, like, you end up living in the house for, like, the rest of your life. Like, how must that feel? Like, can you imagine, like, well, probably some of you can. Like, do you have memories every single day about, oh, I remember when this house was painted this color, or da 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 da, I remember 30 years ago, like, this looks like that. Like, are those daily kinds of thoughts or no? Like, I can't imagine. This is the longest I've ever been in one place in my life, in one house on one street in my life. But again, sorry, I don't know how to edit that out. So, what did they say? A frog is in my throat, but there was no frog. It was just phlegm. So I don't know why phlegm is called frogs. Sorry, that's gross. So I'll just move on because I already forgot what I was saying. Um, oh yeah, growing up in the same house. But anyways, so Janice is the matriarch of the street. She even admitted that to us yesterday. She said that she's the matriarch. And I was like, Janice, it is about fucking time you said that because I remember the day that like we came to just look at the house to see if we were interested in renting it, which is what we did at the time. Um, I remember like just the way Janice walked, how she carried herself. I remember thinking this must be a really important person. And I didn't know why I thought that way. Um, and, then she let us run from her, and, like, we've been living here for many years, and, she is like, turns out we live next door to, like, a famous person. Not in, like, the broad sense of the word famous, but, like, we live next to, like, a VIP, and, I kinda had an idea about it this entire time, and so I've treated her as such. Like, she's, I don't know, like a very important person. And so when she invites me and Alicia over, and when I say she, I mean they, because Janice and Nadine come in a pair, just like me and Alicia do. Nadine lives at the end of our street. Janice lives in the same house her and Nadine grew up in and were born in and everything. So over the years, Janice has invited me and Alicia over, and it's never, so they're not mean people, Janice and Nadine, or anything like that. They just sometimes don't think about certain things that that me and Alicia would think about, for example. Maybe that's the best way to put it. So, like in the past, when we've been told, hey, why don't you guys come over for 4th of July? We're going to be grilling, la 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 la. We just think it's going to be us two. And then it ends up being other people in the neighborhood as well, and I've always, like, not liked that because I like to know, like, who's going to be in attendance. But Janice is the kind of person where, like, just don't ask her those questions. Like, she can't be bothered with those. She doesn't care if there's 50 people over. Like, she likes people. Um, but what I'm getting at is we've just gotten used to being invited, but not been like the guests. Because have you ever moved into like a neighborhood and like, oh, the majority of the people on the street have just lived there for years and years and years, and like you feel like the new kid on the block for years. Until other people start moving out and then moving in, and you start taking a step up the ladder that you didn't even know that you were climbing. And then before you know it, you're kind of somebody that is considered a little important in the neighborhood because you've lived there for years. Does that make sense? Um, so whenever we get those invites, we pick and choose when we decline, because Alicia doesn't like socializing a whole lot either, but she likes it more than I do, and I don't like it at all. So, anyways, and I don't want to keep her from living her full life. She wants to go and socialize with people or whatever. But anyways, so Janice texted Alicia like a couple days ago, like, would you guys like to come over on Sunday for Easter? And my mind immediately went to, oh shit, I thought we were free from not having a kid and now we have to go there. And we can't say no to Janice, like with certain things. And this is one, like you don't turn down an invite on a holiday from her. You just don't. I don't know how to explain it any more than that. And so I was like, "Ugh." You know how, like, I went into my usual thinking, like, you guys are probably familiar with, like, we're preparing for the event, and I asked Alicia, I said, "Well, what time did she say?" And Alicia's like, "Oh, she didn't." And I said, "Well, can you ask her, like, what time she would like us there so, like, I can at least prepare for the time?" Like, the time is very important as well. Like, I'm sorry, but the hours and the minutes count. And so Alicia texts to her, like, what time? And Janice goes, "Whenever you guys would like." Janice, after all these years, I have tried to get you to just stick to a time and you never do. And this is the worst it's ever been. You've never just told us, come over whenever, like literally whenever. And I did not like that answer. And then, so I told Alicia, if she does ask, tell her 3 o'clock because I want to sleep in. And my life doesn't really get started until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, anyways. And turns out Janice like she came back with 3 o'clock. I mean, I'm down to details with you guys, but it was like I really needed that time. And she must have hurt me somehow, like in her mind, because she said 3 o'clock would be good. Nobody asked her. But anyways, I spent unnecessary time on that. So you might be able to see where this is going. Um, we were the only guests. And I was not expecting that. I wasn't even expecting to have a full meal, but somehow Alicia was, so I misunderstood something along the way. I thought we were just going over there for some drinks and some croissants, hors d'oeuvres, you know, and then that's it. Um, and so like we get to the house, like this is a whole thing. Like if you knew Janice, no offense to Nadine, she's important too, but like Janice is like she's just I don't know how else to describe her. But when me and Alicia realized that we were the only ones that were going to be there, we were like, "What?" And we talked about this when we got home later. Like her and I had the both we both had the same experiences inside our heads. Like because of our shitty fucking childhoods and our shitty families. We were like when we both realized at the same time that we were the guests of honor, like, we were getting, like, served with food and, like, they made us beverages. I was like, "Oh my god, I feel like I'm an important person." We've never been Janice's guests, never the primary ones. And we were like, "Oh my god, like, we don't deserve this. Like, what did we do to deserve such kindness?" And, um, my mind goes to, I always avoid these people. Like, I go out of my way to, like, try not to hang out with them, but, like, and then things like this happen, and it's like, wow, I did not expect they, like, had a whole setup. It was so cute. Like, we walked in, and they had on the table, like, 4 settings, like, they had the plates laid out and the silverware laid out, and, like, they had, like, little picky foods. Um, to, like, eat from. They made us beverages. I should probably admit, so, like, I took a gummy, marijuana gummy before I went over, like, I don't know, a few hours before, because they take a while to kick in. And I figured, like, that should help me through however long we have to be there. Because I was planning for more people to be there and everything. So I was like, let me just go into this feeling a little bit more calm. So I took a gummy, and like the kind that I took was 100 milligrams of a bunch of different strains all in one. It's a potent gummy. But when I'm really anxious, it feels half as potent, if that makes sense. Like I'm not flying in my head, but like sorry about my throat noises and my mouth sounds. Um what was I saying? Oh, so yeah, I took a gummy. And then because I'm in menopause and it's getting warmer now, and like now I'm starting to feel more nauseous because like I don't like the warm weather. Oh, hold on a minute. I really hope the microphone didn't pick that up. I should end this soon because my voice. Oh, it's like old times. I know. Back in the early days when I used to apologize for breathing. Anyways, so I took the gummy, and I went to go take an anti-nausea med before we left the house because those kick in pretty quickly, and I didn't want to be over at their house like feeling nauseous because it was warm. I try to contain that and keep that shit at home. So in my mind, I thought I was opening the pill bottle that had the anti-nausea meds in there, and in my mind, I took one out and I put it in my mouth, and I swallowed it with water. What really happened was I reached into the marijuana gummy bag, I pulled out another 100 milligram gummy, and that's what I took. I thought I Does that make sense? It was like hours later when I was drinking alcohol over there, and I was like feeling like so good. I was like, wow, I can't remember the last time I felt this great. I was like, I mean, I've had marijuana and alcohol before, like maybe once before, because I don't drink anymore. Um, it didn't feel as good as this, and then I recalled, like, "Oh my god, like, I actually took 2 of the gummies. I did not take just 1 and an anti-nausea pill, I took 2 gummies and no anti-nausea pill." So the good news is I did not feel nauseous. The other good news is I felt so great, and then the other good news is I didn't feel as awkward as I usually do. But again, this is very strange coming out of my mouth because I used to be an addictions counselor, and this is like, I didn't take the stuff to go there and be able to, well, I could just sit here and come up with all kinds of stories. I took a gummy to relax so that like I wouldn't feel like I wanted to die being around other people. Like that's how much I don't like to socialize. And so anyways, and then I admitted it because like you just overshare sometimes. And I guess that was a good time. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. Next thing I know, 3.5 hours goes by, and I really thought it had been like 5 minutes. Like time is so weird when like you're using things. I'm just it's very strange experience. But like I gotta say, this was the best social event I have ever been to. If you can call it an event. Do people say it like that anymore? I don't know. And there was just the four of us there. And Janice and Nadine are the same as usual. They remind me of James and the Giant Peach's aunts. You know that book and that movie? They remind me of the sisters or like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, like the aunts in that show. 'Cause like they like bitch to each other. They're always like nitpicking, and then like when one's not around, they bitch about that one to us, and like we're not really supposed to say anything. And then the other one does the same thing at another time. You just get used to it. And so they're the kind of people that like, because they were on the couch. If if this was a YouTube video and I just took the sound away, it would be hilarious. Like they're just hilarious. Like, they both talk at the same time. They both think they're talking with each other, but they're not. They're saying two completely different things about two completely different subjects, and they're both answering each other. And, like, I can never keep up with this, and I've never been able to figure this out, but somehow they always understand each other. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of hand movements. It was very loud over there, and there was just the four of us. And, anyways, I guess the point of the story is I did pretty good socializing, although there was like 2 minutes of awkwardness. Has anybody ever seen Saturday Night Live, that sketch where, oh my God, it was years ago. It was Will Ferrell, I think how do you say her name? Anna Gasteyer, and I think Sarah Michelle Gellar. I don't like her, but I just remember I think her voice was like really I didn't like her voice. But anyways, I think those three were in it and they were eating at the dinner table, and it was like the sketch was like an awkward like kind of dinner where like they'd be clanking the silverware on the plates. Somebody would say something and then they would erupt into like yelling, and then it would go quiet again and you just heard like awkward silence and the clinking of the silverware. There was 2 minutes of that at Janice's house. When we were all sitting at the table, I can't tell you the last time I sat at a table and had a meal with people, let alone Alicia. We don't sit at tables. We don't even have one. We have an island that we don't use except to like put things on. And then I remember like thinking like, oh no, it's completely quiet and like we're just clinking our silverware, and like who's supposed to say something? Like like it was just one of those moments. And then it went away. That was the only like not fun time of the thing. But anyways, sorry about all these noises coming out of my mouth. I should probably end this soon. Where am I at time? Oh, not that bad. But anyways, so they like me and Alicia aren't used to being treated like nicely. Not that we put ourselves in very many situations where like people would cater to us, you know what I mean? But like neither of us have ever been somewhere that we can recall where like we were the ones being like they made us beverages like oh my god, they grew up like their mom owned a bar and stuff and so like they know how to make some good drinks. And there was like chocolate liquor there. Oh, I thought I was in heaven if such a place exists. I was like, I'm living my best life right now. This is just magical. Um, I don't know what I was saying just now. Um, sorry. I lost that. Oh, cater to. Um, I don't mean it to sound gross like it does, but like we were in the living room and they brought us food. They brought us drinks. I like to make myself useful. Like, okay, I used your glass. I drank out of it. Like, I'm gonna go do all the dishes now because I used this one glass. Like, I don't like to just be rude and I always go over to, over the years, I've gone over to people's houses and not just expected them to clean up after me just because it's their house. I don't know. Um, but they were like, no, you're not doing dishes and you're not going to do that. And so me and Alicia just sat in the living room and I was drinking and Alicia wasn't because she doesn't drink. I was like, you'd be having a whole lot more fun right now if you were. But um, she had some caffeine, so I guess that's as good as it got. But we couldn't believe our good fortune. And it felt very strange. For me, it felt like I know like as an adult and like I know that this was not the same situation and I even knew it in the moment when I had this thought, but like over the years, like people who have been that nice to me, I've been invited over to people's houses before and I was the butt of the joke. Um this was years ago. I was so naive. I was in the military. Um I mean, like, oh God, I don't even want to talk about that. That was just, oh, have you ever been in a situation where like the whole joke is you and you just don't know about it and like it goes on for like hours? Hopefully none of you have experienced that, but like it was just like I was the butt of the joke. When I got invited over somewhere, like I thought, oh, these people actually like me, and like they don't, and it was just this very cruel thing that I was surprised. Like looking back on this, I can't believe that this shit happened, like by people who were like 2 decades over older than me. Like, anyways, have I talked about that before? I don't think so. But so like my mind goes to that, like, okay, I'm suspicious of you. Like, why are you being nice to me? What is it that you're planning? Are you poisoning my food? Like, I don't mean to sound like a I wasn't thinking Janice was poisoning us. I was just thinking like this is unexpected. The last time somebody was like giving me drinks and like bringing me plates of food, like something bad happened at the end. Um, and so like ever since that was decades ago. Ever since then, I just don't trust kindness. And I'm trying to remind myself that there are genuine people out there who do like to just be kind because that's who they are. Um, and not everybody wants something from you because they're being nice. And it was just a weird experience because, you know, we've been here for over 10 years and this is the first time that we've ever been the guests. And I was like, I totally, I was like, we made it. We've made it in this neighborhood to be her guests. Like, I can't even explain to you how great that was and how significant it was. Like, if anybody lives around neighbors like that, like, you know what I mean. Like, I can't believe it that we were the guests. It was like going to a famous person's house for real. And I didn't embarrass myself. I asked Alicia afterward. I was like, there were moments where I think I probably shouldn't have had that extra drink. Like, I didn't get sick or I didn't get goofy. I didn't do any of that. But like sometimes it's like you think that you're being normal in the moment and then you find out from somebody later, like hours later, like, dude, you were really weird when you did that. And Alicia's like, no, you didn't have any of those moments. So that was good. Um, And the sad thing is, like, we're not going to ever invite them over inside the house. Probably we'll have to do some backyard thing, but uh, I guess that's what neighbors do is like invite each other over. But, like, oh, that's right. Janice wants us back over for Memorial weekend or something at the end of May. So I have another social event to prepare for. I don't know that we're going to be the guests again, the primary guests, but if we are, um, I mean, she did tell us we were in her will, so I don't know. I don't know where that came from. I was the will part. Maybe like maybe I should end this episode before I say anything else. So, like, her backyard is like really, really big. Ours is half her size. She's got this cool ass fire pit that she stopped using, like, I don't know, 3, 4 years ago. She just doesn't go out there anymore. It's closer to our yard than it is to her house. So, like, we joked and we're like, can you put in the will that we get that half of the backyard so we can have that fire pit and, like, nobody can live like next to us? Like, we want that plot of grass too. So we're waiting to see if like maybe we ended up in the will, but not like money grabbers or anything like that. I thought of the will because oh, who's there at the door? Unprofessional. I know, I'm sorry. Is somebody walking their fucking baby? Okay. No offense to people with babies. But so like Janice had said to us like, I don't know, years ago, like you guys are in the will, but she wouldn't say like where in the will we were. And so I was like, are we gonna like this has nothing to do with what I talked about on here, and I wish I could just delete these last few minutes, but I can't. Um, the fact that we're in a famous person's will is fucking great. We're wondering if like the fire pit is going to be in our lineage soon. And the fact that we were primary guests over to a famous person's house, that's never happened for us before. Maybe we'll be primary guests for a second time in a row. And then their whole neighborhood will talk about us because everybody knows who goes inside everybody else's houses. At least I do because of Ring and stuff. And hanging out by windows in the house, but not in a creepy way. But I don't know what the fuck the point of this episode was. I just think it's weird to be treated nicely. And I don't know when we're not going to have these thoughts, Alicia and I. Like, when are we going to get to the point in our life where we've had enough therapy, we've done enough work on ourselves, where this is not the default thinking? Like, oh, we don't deserve this. Or for me, too, like, oh, what is it that you really want? Like, like not trusting people just being nice because they're nice people. Um, so, and I don't see people anymore because I don't work out in the public. I don't work with people. I don't have to deal with that bullshit anymore. So, like, anytime I have any kind of interaction worth discussing, that's why I get on here and talk about it because I don't know. Um, it teaches me more about myself, and like also they're good gauges too, like this, like what we did yesterday with Janice and Nadine. Like, I can't believe I'm like picking apart this like just one thing in like an entire episode, but like also like it shows me like how far I've come, and like, okay, I'm still judging myself on this and this, so I'm not as far as in that area as I thought I was, but like on this other part, like I'm actually making good progress here. You know what I mean? Like, does anybody ever do that? Like, I haven't been able to socialize, not that I wanted to, in so long. So, like, this was a good gauge for me. Like, where am I in life based on how I can interact with people? And maybe that is not the gauge to aim for. No, because that doesn't say anything. I'm going to end this. I hope nobody's listening. If you are, this is why I try not to talk unabridged. What does that even mean? I'm going to go now. Oh no, I just got to the half hour point. Oh my God, I just gave you 10 minutes of nonsense. Bye.